Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. I wanted to show you guys who are new bros who basically just started the game very recently and you want to find a way to earn some nice ISK. This is how to do T0 Firestorm Abysses in a Dragoon with very low amounts of SP and also a very cheap fit as well. The total fit costs only like 4 or 5 million, like depending on the prices of the local markets. So it's a very cheap fit and it also requires relatively little SP as well. So I'm only using 93,000 SP. Basically how I got this SP right here. This is a fresh character I just quickly made. I used a referral link you can find in the description below. Basically if you use that like referral link, you'll get 1,000,000 SP when you make a new character. And I did that and I got this 1,000,000 SP and I used it to put it in these skills right here. So these are the skills I'm using and it does the T0 Firestorms absolutely no problem. The Dragoon is such a tanky ship, tanks like an absolute boss. So it's really a nice safe way to do these abysses because you just go straight through. You just go straight through, kill them and get this loot and really just get out of there, sell it and earn some nice ISK. I actually personally prefer the Corax to do T0 Abysses, but you need to use a little bit more piloting skill. Like you need to be a bit more aware of your surroundings, and it also uses less SP, but it is a little bit more expensive, the fit I use. I'll definitely say I prefer to use the Corax, mainly because it's a bit faster than the Dragoon and uses less SP. Those are the main things. So you use a little bit more SP using the Dragoon, but not a whole lot different either. So the Dragoon is just really nice because it's just so tanky, since you could put 2 armor pairs like this. We won't even be using them half the time just because like we don't need to. We'll just be using one and then occasionally we'll be using 2 if we really need to. So it's really chill actually. One of the most chill activities you can do in this Dragoon is doing T0 Abysses. Now just make sure that when you've injected all the skills or trained them, the ones that I've got here, make sure you have like this much DPS. These are the stats I've got. If you have less than DPS than this, then maybe you missed a skill or something. I'm also using this ammo type right here, Republic Fleet Phase Plasma S and Caldari Navy Inferno light missiles. And I've also got some Hobgoblin ones. I could use Federation Navy Hobgoblins. They are a lot more expensive though, but they do more damage and have more HP. The thing is they're very expensive compared to these Tech 1 ones. And the NPCs in the Abyss, they can attack them. And if you lose drones, you'll earn less ISK power essentially, because they are quite expensive, those Federation Navy drones, especially for new players. So what we're going to do here is take 2 Tranquil Firestorms. In fact, I've got a whole stack here of Firestorms in my cargo. Make sure you have a full cargo hold of Hobgoblins, specifically Hobgoblins. It's important to have the right drone type because in the Abyss you have a reduced certain type of resistance. So in the Firestorms we're going to have reduced thermal resistance. That's why I want to do thermal damage, and Hobgoblins are the type of drone that does thermal damage. You see a bit of a trend here too. We're using some light missiles. The Inferno missiles, they do thermal damage. Phased Plasma S also does predominantly thermal damage as well. So I've made 2 safe spots in space. Now, to make one of these, you just warp to a location. So you would make, like, I don't know, I'd warp to this Chiriba monument, and I would just add this location right here and just type safe in space. You access the people and places tab by going into personal and people and places. You just warp somewhere, and then while you're mid-warp, just type submit. Now I'm not going to do that, but I've made 2 spots here that are very close to each other, and that's exactly what you want to do. And in fact, you can see one of the spots here, like one of the safes I made was here. So we can just warp to the other one. And the reason why I want to have 2 close to each other is just we're going to be warping in between them while we do sites, because we're going to be doing sites very quickly. So as soon as we've got out of one site, we'll just warp to the other safe and do another site there directly. There's a bit of a cooldown timer because there'll be this sort of portal remnant when you finish a site. And it takes a bit of time for that to despawn, so that's why we go to a different safe, because you can't run another abyssal site if a portal remnant is on the grid. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that you have to form a fleet, because if you're not in a fleet you can't do this, just the way it works. Just wait a few seconds. It's not like you have this test session time up here that takes a bit of time. So start moving as well. Double click in space, you need to move a bit. Double click or just click on this here. Make sure you select 2 destroyers. Approach this Abyssal Trace, click activate and go straight in. As simple as that, as simple as that. All we do here is approach the loot and then the transfer conduit and kill anything on the way. It's really so simple, as just simple as that. Keep 1 armor repair as soon as you take damage. If damage gets too crazy, then activate 2 of these. Once you are at the transfer conduit, deactivate your MWD since it uses a lot of capacitor. It's just really so simple. Lock up this enemy NPC, select him. You can press F actually as a hotkey to have your drones go on him. You can even start shooting your light missiles because I'm in range now. And just go for this, really. Go for this. What is the range of the player's Phasma S? 14 kilometers. So we can even start shooting this via the cumulative cache. If we just get a tiny bit closer. Can we one-shot it? No, almost one-shotted it. Okay, so you can see here now we're starting to take a little bit of armor damage. We can start activating our armor repair. We can grab the loot, move a bit closer to him. You see here, we tank like an absolute boss. You don't have to worry at all about your tank. Now just go closer now to the transfer conduit. And you can even start shooting your artillery cannon over here if he starts getting in range, but he's not in range. Now, recall your drones. If they take damage, you can see here he's attacking my drones. That's why it's very important to have like a big menu up here so you pay attention. You can obviously have it smaller, but I would recommend if you're new to this, have the menu pretty big because then you want to, be able to see clearly if you're taking damage. I've also divided them up into groups. Where you can do this is just hover over them and then move. Like you hold down shift and then just click another one like this and then move drone into new group and then type any group name. I've just called this like DPS1, DPS2, and I've named another group called Z spare. Just put Z in front of it just so it's at the very bottom. But these are just spare drones because I can use max 4 at a time. That's why I'm using groups of 4. If you're curious, if you have more skills, you can use 5 drones, but I've only trained the ability to use 4 drones on this character. But if you are to train drones skill to level 5, you'll get some really, really good extra DPS since you will be able to use an extra drone as well. It just takes a long time to train as an alpha clone. Okay, good. Recall your drones. Always remember to do that. Don't forget to do that. Reload your stuff is always a good thing to do as well. And now that we're sitting here at the gate, I was using my MWD for a lot. It makes us go fast. There's no reason to use our MWD if we're not moving anywhere. It just eats up all our capacitor that we could be using to power our armor repairs. So let's go towards the cumulative cache, activate our MWD, lock up this, lock up the NPCs when they get in range, deploy the drones, and just be wary of your drones. Really, that's all it is. You can even have them go for here. Maybe shoot this Ember Lance drone over here with my light missiles. Can even shoot a bit of artillery cannon on him as well. Now we missed. Sometimes these artillery cannons, they really have to have the NPC going very slow to be able to hit properly. You can really just use it to... What I mostly use it for when using this fit is that I use it just to pop these caches over here. We can approach this, grab this. Good, good, good. And shoot here. Can we get a hit there? Here we got a hit there with artillery cannon. Okay, let's move towards this transfer conduit and go to the last wave. Oh, our drone took a lot of damage there. You see, he almost died. He was in structure. I should have paid more attention there. Shows that even if you've played this game for a long time, you can even forget sometimes. But don't worry, we've got plenty of sets to spare. And even then, we could just deploy these ones that are already damaged. And we could actually just... lose a few drones. Doesn't matter, they don't cost anything, and we can even repair them when we get out, so really don't worry at all. Tech 1 drones are dirt cheap, cost absolutely nothing, so it is really nothing to worry about at all. Approach the biocombinative cache, lock it up, lock up this Ephialtes guy over here, and deploy your drones. You can just deploy the set the least damage, just so you know that there's less likelihood that we'll lose a drone. But in all honesty, it does not matter at all. The drones, as I said before, are not worth anything. And you can see here, we've not even had to use our second armor repair. It's just really there in case you ever need to use it. Just keep in mind that if you're using 2 armor repairs, you will be using a lot more capacitor than 1. So it could happen that you run out of capacitor. You'll hear a sound like this. They'll sound like this. You'll hear a sound like that when you get to like 30 something capacitor. In fact, I can demonstrate it to you right now what it will sound like. But just keep in mind, when you hear that sound, you definitely don't want to be using more. Yeah, you hear that? Maybe, I don't know if you heard that, but there was a sound that just came now. You don't want to be using it because that means you're close to running out of capacitor. So just keep that in mind. Here, for example, turn off your MWD. We've got good capacitor. And in fact, if we have this MWD off and turn this off, we can run this as much as we want. And we can run this second one a little bit. It drains in 1 minute and 40 seconds. If we use everything, we drain the capacitor in 1 minute and 4 seconds. So just keep it in mind that you don't want to run out of capacitor because you won't be able to use anything then if you've got no capacitor. Now he's being a little scrub, and he also destroyed one of my drones. But it really does not matter because these drones are not worth anything. And the thing is that you'll notice is the little pro tip right here. You'll notice that he will be attacking your drones where he's not orbiting you really close, because that means he's probably trying to orbit your drones. What they usually do, these Ephialtes guys, they try to orbit you close, but he's pretty far away. So it means he's trying to attack your drones basically. Or at least it gives a bit of a telltale sign, because that's how I just noticed now that, oh, he's pretty far away. That probably means he was attacking my drones. Oh, I saw that I lost a drone as well. Just these small things you learn when you play a lot. Really nothing important to keep in mind, especially at this level of Abyss. It's so like relaxing that like, okay, I lost a drone. Who cares? They don't cost anything. You're going to see here what we earned from this site was 1.8 million. Our ship is worth like 4.8 million. That's like 1/3 of our ship already back essentially. And also, these drones are costing us absolutely nothing. So if you want to see what I mean, look at this. Look at the market. 3,000 ISK. I mean, we could buy, what is this? We could buy 200 drones, more than 200. We could buy like 400 drones for the amount of ISK we got from this one site right there. So it really does not matter. Just think of these Tech 1 drones as disposable. The thing is, if you get something like the Federation Navy, Hobgoblin, Hobgoblin. It's right here. This is stuff that's expensive right here. You see this 1.5 million for one of them. So it is a big difference from these standard Tech 1 drones. But we can just buy a bunch of these. We can buy 47 drones. And we can just slap these spare drones in here. And what we do here to repair the drones, just right click on your ship, get repair quote, repair all. And there we go. We can continue to running sites. So we can run another site to do this super fast. We had a bunch of filaments already on us as well. The Firestorm filaments. You could, to be honest, do other filaments as well. The only one I would say be careful with doing is Darks. The Darks one will make it very hard for your drones to attack stuff, because they're first off going to be going really fast. Because in dark sites, the tranquil dark filament, it'll make everything go faster. So you, the enemies, your drones, everything will go fast. It'll make it so that they'll be slingshotting all over the place and have a hard time hitting it and stuff. On top of that, dark sites also, they reduce the optimal range of stuff. Not missiles, but on turrets. And drones, they count as a turret-based like platform. They've got turrets on the drones, essentially. And what the dark site will do is it will reduce the range on your drones. So they'll also have a really hard time hitting. So combine that with the increased speed, they're going to almost hit nothing basically in the dark side. So don't do dark sides, but you could, if you want, do exotics, you could do electrics, you could do gammas. Just keep in mind, if you're going to do the different sites, make sure you adjust the type of ammunition you're using. But I can imagine it'll get very complicated, and especially as you're a newbie, this is probably already too much information. So personally speaking, I'll just recommend you just stick to this fit right here and run Firestorms. But when you start learning more about EVE Online, it'll become very clear to you why you can do those other filaments. If I were just to give it short, is that like here we've reduced thermal resistance, so we've got thermal based weapons. In the exotics, for example, we reduced our kinetic resistance, so we would use kinetic based weaponry. So we would use kinetic missiles, we would use kinetic drones, which are hornets. In the electricals, we would use acolytes, which are EM drones, and EM Mjolnir missiles, because the EM resistance is reduced in electrical sites. It's just the way it works. But just to keep things simple, run Firestorms. It's super easy. Okay, grab this loot right here and move towards the transfer conduit. And you can see here, like I barely even had to use my armor repairs at all. Just do a little pulse right there, and they've almost got my armor to, okay, we need to do a little bit more to get to full HP. We can do a few pulses right here, and we can get ourselves to full HP. Just be wary of your capacitor is all I'm saying. There we go. And we can reload all these things over here. And since our drones are in, go to the next site. Don't forget your drones. It'll be very tragic if you forget all your drones and are not able to kill the last wave. Okay, Adamavik. This is one of the waves that take a little bit longer to do because they have pretty naturally high armor. And since in the Firestorm sites, they reduce thermal resistance, but they also buff armor. So they give 50% armor HP bonus. So he will be a bit of a tanky boy, but it's okay. It's not too much to worry about, to be honest. We can always get through it. The Dragoon is very strong. Let's continue to this biocommutative cache over here. You'll hear a lot of people saying that the Skybreaker Disparu troop, there's a particular enemy called the Skybreaker Disparu troop, and he is a very deadly enemy in the T0s because he's got a very good active tank, but he has a very, very low thermal resistance, so you'll be hitting him like a truck, so don't worry about him. Okay, shoot this biocommutative cache over here. There we go. I'll just shoot another shot. We usually have to use like 2 shots on this guy to destroy it. There we go. And drones, please shoot. Sometimes you'll notice your drones, they'll just decide to not attack the enemy, and just make sure that they are, and you can press F again to get them to lock up on your drones again. It's annoying, but that's just sometimes happens, and I noticed that it tends to happen more with enemies that go very fast, because they go very fast and it sort of makes the drones uninterested in them. Another thing, just make sure you click on aggressive and also focus fire. This isn't something I didn't have, but it's very useful to have it at focus fire, because then they're always going to focus on the same target. Sometimes if there's 2 targets, you don't want the drones to be splitting up, because then they're going to just get a bit all over the place and it'll get very confusing where your drones are actually doing damage. So I, as a rule of thumb, almost always have it on the focus fire. We can go to the next room. Since our drones are here, we can activate our armor repairs a little bit too. We can deactivate our MWD since our capacitor is getting low. You can see here with these markers. Now we can go towards the biocommutative cache, and we can stop using our armor repair since we've got full armor. So we can move towards this guy over here, deploy our drones, and we can have these guys go crazy on these rogue drones over here. The rogue drones that are out here for my blood, but they're not gonna get it. Okay. A Dragoon is just so nice. It's such a tanky little ship. Got a very big armor, and especially when you take into consideration the Firestorm as well, you get a really big fat armor pool. Shoot him. There we go. Can use our artillery cannon over here to shoot this biocommutative cache. Super simple, super simple. There we go. He's already dead. Great. Now we've got some ISK right there. So you can see here our total haul now. Wait, no. You can see here our total haul from these 2 sites is 3.1 million. Now, if you're curious how I have this filter right here, what you do is go on people and places, type AC Facey. This is my character. Click show info, bio, and then there's this abyssal loot filter. Click here, click yes, and then click save. Make sure you tick any as well. And then you'll see this filter thing right here will have abyssal loot on it. It's very useful if you just want to filter out the loot. So you've got this ammunition here, but you've also got the loot here as well. You just want to filter out. Now, what I was talking about before is that we have this abyssal trace over here that is here for a few seconds. And if you look here, I can't activate this anymore. It says 1,000 kilometers away from the abyssal trace. So that's the reason I make 2 safe. So I can just warp to one of these guys here and do sites almost straight away. But you guys get the idea. It's really simple. It's a really strong ship, and something I would highly recommend. Me personally, I prefer the Corax because it's faster in my tests, but it's still a very solid ship. A lot tankier than a Corax, a lot cheaper. Requires a bit more skill points though, and as I said before, it's a bit slower too. So, hope you new bros have some fun, earn some tank ISK, and hope you don't die. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.